Welcome to Wednesday Night Live from the Basement. Here's your hosts, Rob, Daryl, and Joe.
Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, and we have 473 people watching already. That's pretty miraculous. I am joined as I am every week by Joe and Daryl, and our special guest this week, Richard. How you doing, gentlemen?
Doing well, thank you. And you?
Living the dream.
Excellent. That's good.
Living the dream. We were all discussing our snow woes before we went live here. Daryl's got it up to the power lines, and Joe's got a bunch, and we got a bunch, and Richard has grass. So
Richard's got zero.
You're in Colorado. You're supposed to have snow.
I know. It's actually one of the worst snow years we've had in history.
Are the ski hills, the resorts having issues, or are they making it, or do you go?
They're having issues because most of them, all of their runs aren't open, and like over Christmas, they had no snow over the Christmas holidays, so they were just kind of running on what they could make.
I was going to say, Richard, Coors is going to have to change their can label.
Yeah.
Really, put the ocean there, or just wheat fields blowing in the wind,
Grass,
dust.
Record Hound, welcome. Yeah, reasonably facsimiles thereof. I think that's a pretty fair statement. So
yeah,
welcome. Thanks for joining us. Or is it as snowing in St. Catharines as it is up here? We're just discussing how we're collectively had enough of this shit. Trevor, how you doing, my friend? Welcome. Welcome. Do we have any exciting music news to talk about? I know Richard and I do, because we were talking about it earlier. I'm excited that there's a new Elvis record coming out next month.
Oh, yes.
Very excited. So, Baz Luhrmann, the guy that did that, was he the guy that did the Austin Butler movie?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure he is. So he's coming out with, it's called Epic, and it's Elvis's Vegas residency that he did after the 68 comeback special. And so they're putting that out on vinyl and CD if you're so inclined. And I saw it, I'm like, holy shit, Richard, have you seen this? Because Richard and I are Elvis fans. So I'm crazy excited. There's you can buy a red one off of, I guess, the Elvis website, and then there's like a yellow and red one off Amazon. I think I'll probably Amazon it. I think.
Yeah.
I haven't ordered it yet, but the teaser for it is shit. What's that song? Loved on Luck, which is amazing. So very excited. That's the only music news I got. How about you guys? Anything exciting?
I think we mentioned it last week briefly. I'm not sure, but new Black Crowes coming out in the next little while.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I'm looking forward to that. There's a couple of singles out, videos, whatever you want to call them. I'm not sure if they were lyric videos or what they were, but I don't know. Black Crowes are back, kind of. I liked Happiness Bastards from a couple of years ago. Actually, I really liked Happiness Bastards from a couple of years ago, and these new songs sound really, really good as well. So, just more proof that brothers can get back together and get their shit back together and make good music and do good tours and do the things that they should be doing. So that's great. I'm looking forward to it.
If the Gallaghers can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, that's right. There's a bunch of bands. I don't know if you guys have noticed a trend, if it's me or not, but and maybe in the pop world it happens more, but there's a lot of bands with a single out right now and talk of an album, but it's not like, and then the album is next month. Like Shinedown's got 2 singles, maybe 3 singles out, but no talk of the album, or it's down the line. Pretty Reckless, same thing. They've got Glorious Sons. They've got a big hit single, but then there's no album. It used to be the album came out, the single came out, but that's not the case anymore. I mean, the whole music industry has shuffled so much.
I know you're excited because Bryan Adams is teasing a new album too.
Of course I am.
I know you're very excited.
What was it? Oh, I don't know. I was watching something and Bryan came up, but
I know you're very excited about that.
I am. I know what it was. I think I can't. No, I can't remember. It was in my head for a second or two, and then it left again. So, but
Trevor says he's got that Black Tea album arriving next week.
yeah, Dawson, the drummer, was in the shop the other day, dropped some of the albums off, and actually we did a quick interview. So if you're out there, I actually have videos on my channel that are somewhat new in the last little while, including an interview with Don Kessler of Black Tea, the drummer. Their album or their single, Living Easy. See, they've got singles and an album out, but anyway, their single Living Easily just cracked the Canadian Billboard Top 20, so they're making their way up the charts, if that matters a whole bunch. But anyway, he said he was leaving from me after doing the interview. He was going to go and mail Trevor his vinyl version of it. So yeah. Yeah, it's getting a little bit. The video's getting a little bit of traction. I just really like them. I know I keep talking about them, and I'm not going to go on much more than to say maybe watch the video that's on my channel. Just a quick interview with Dawson from the band, and we talked about it. But seek them out if you haven't yet. I recommend at least giving them a listen. So
I apologize, I haven't watched the video yet. I haven't watched any YouTube in the last few days because I've been stupid busy. Did he sign any of the albums he dropped off?
He didn't. They were still shrunk wrapped. So and I didn't know if people would want it on the shrink wrap, because then you got to try and keep that, and it's a gatefold. So it's a little different. Anyway, I've got mine that's autographed, but if people are local, they're going to see them around. I'm sure that they could sign them, and once we sell out, we've only got a couple left of the ones that he dropped off. We're gonna get some more, and a little bit of merch in that maybe. I said to you guys before, but maybe not public. I want to start to do that more for local bands. I want to be that place. We got the album for X. We're selling it for the same price. We're not marking it up. We're not doing any of that. Nobody needs to make money off the backs of these young artists. There's enough of that going on. So I paid him what he asked for the album, which they're selling it for as well, and we're selling it for the same thing. But it's more just exposure for them. And it's to get people to come into the store and pick it up as well, if they're not going to get a chance to get it from them directly. But, again, it helps support the local artist, helps support the local band. If we can put a little bit of merch in the shop and it sells for them, great. If they've got some vinyl and we sell it for them at the same price you would get from them, then so be it. So, yeah. Anyway,
if you're out, do they have a Bandcamp store or off their website or?
Off their website, yeah. So, I mean, you can certainly, if you want to come into the shop and pick one up, great. But yeah, you can go right to their website as well. And there is a get a hold of us, and you just have to let them know, and they'll ship it out. Like I said, Trevor, well, not like I said, like Trevor said, he should be getting his in the next little while. So Seattle is the furthest so far. That's the furthest reach. We might have to get something maybe down.
I'll order one up, but I'll save the ones in your store for local customers. I'll get one from the band.
Yeah, you can get one direct from them. What's nice, too, is if you get it now, they printed 100. That was the run that they did. So these first 100s are going to be the gatefold and everything. The next run, Dawson said they might not do them as a gatefold. They might do them as a single, little lower cost for them. But they wanted to do some limited edition. The first 100 are going to be this gatefold. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. He talks about the cover of the album, where it was shot, and they haven't done a video yet, but we're working on that too. So
cool.
I'll
go.
Stop talking about them.
Black Tea, everybody.
Yeah.
Argadon says you're awesome for doing that for local bands. I mean, yeah, it's great. If you can support a local band, why not?
Exactly. And like I said, you don't need to be making money off the backs of these guys. There's agents and there's all the rest of the people taking their little cut. If they're selling them for $50, I bought them for $50. I'm selling them for $50. So you can get them from me. You can get them from the band. So yeah.
Cool. What else do I chat about, fellas?
Finally got around to listening to that Stereophonics Greatest Hits that Chris Mann sent me.
And
it's pretty good. I mean, I only knew the one song, Hurry Up and Wait. That was the big one in Canada. Yeah, I got that same one.
Yeah.
And it's really good. That the song Devil that's on there is fantastic. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I find, this is just me personally, I find that they do have a bit of an Oasis vibe, actually. Some of their songs, it's pretty, not identical, but they're pretty close.
Yeah,
I know that some present company does not like the term Britpop, so I will only say it that way to suggest how they sound a little bit on some of the songs on here. So, but yeah. But Daryl, you probably listened to it a few times now, right? It's good. I mean, obviously, it's not like we didn't believe Chris Mann, but it's nice to be able to hear the whole thing. And sometimes maybe we don't believe Chris Mann, but that's a different story. I don't know if he's here.
you should always trust a drunken Welshman.
That's right. If you can't trust a drunken Welshman, who the hell can
Who do you trust?
Exactly. Exactly. It's probably not. I think he's work schedules change, which is why I think he's not tuning in. So we'll forgive him that. But I'll tell him tomorrow we were shit talking him. So
yeah, he's doing some different stuff these days. So yeah, the schedule has changed a bit.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. I don't have anything else to preamble about, guys. I've been so bloody busy with life and work, and I have nothing of value to add to this preamble to our weekly discussion. So should we just jump in?
Apparently, my high school just ordered a brand new set of drums. The drum kit that's on our music stage has been there since 1989. It's the same. They've never replaced it because we don't have a music program, and they finally decided to buy a new kit.
So if they don't have a music program, why did they buy a drum kit?
To try to get kids interested, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah. They got some funding, and they bought a new kit out of Toronto, and it's going to be shipped up here, I think.
You know what's funny? I took music in grades 7 and 8 because we had to. It was mandatory. But after that, it wasn't. I had no interest in going to music class. I didn't take it in high school. And I had no interest in music until I was, I don't know, grade 11, grade 12, something like that.
Wow.
But that was just as a consumer of music. It wasn't until I was in university that I thought I might like to play an instrument. And as you can see, I have a little bit of a problem. There are 15 of these hanging in this room presently. But it's funny, I look back and go, older me would like to tell younger me, hey, man, maybe you should take music because you're probably really going to like it. I have no formal education in music. I can play. Well, no, but maybe I could if I'd taken some music classes. So what are you going to do?
It is a start when you're young kind of thing, although not 100%. But I tried to pick up guitar like 10 years ago. No, I mean, I got a little bit of Smoke on the Water, but I could only hear it because I was playing it. Anybody else had no idea what the hell I was trying to play. So, yeah. But
yeah, my regret is I didn't start when I was younger. So
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And also my parents never said, hey, do you want to learn an instrument? Because I probably would have been like, yeah, let's do it. But not till I think I bought my first guitar, which is over there. You can't see it. It's a Burgundy Stratocaster. It's a 94, and I bought it in 99 when I was in university. So, I mean, I was like 21, I think, when I picked up an instrument for the first time, other than grade 7 when I played the trombone because I had to, but that doesn't count. But like I see my son's school, right? And he's in grade 4. And, when we go to open house, take a tour around the school, we went into the music room, and they got the drum kit, and they got a bunch of guitars. They're all shit guitars, but that's not the point. And I'm like, we never had this in my music class. There was never a drum kit. There was never a guitar. So trying to get him into it, but he has no interest. So
I think I took accordion.
The thing I had in elementary school for a music instrument was a recorder, and those things are awful.
Well, those fucking things. That's what you should torture terrorists with when they're in, like.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Ukulele too.
Yeah.
But that has some redeeming qualities. I took accordion, but I think through a whole year of taking accordion, I don't think I ever got to a point where I could friggin' play anything. That was just, I looked cool carrying it. It was back before accordion was cool because Weird Al wasn't.
Did you have your plaid jacket on while you had the accordion?
Oh yeah, 100%, probably. Yeah, probably. Josh and Stan, the Schmengi brothers.
Wow.
Cabbage rolls and coffee. Good. Yeah, sure. Anyway, okay, I'm done. Sorry.
All right. Well, we'll jump into this week's topic. We're doing connections again, which is something we've done 4 times already. And as soon as I said to Richard we're doing connections, he said, yes, please. Because it's a fun topic. So for those that haven't seen us do it before, one of us takes a turn, and it happens to be my turn this week. And I picked, I think, 10 records. And it's up to these guys to show something from their collection that is in some way connected to the records that I picked. However you interpret that is entirely up to you. But it's always fun because I've found when I've done it, I don't know about you guys, but you end up learning some things about some albums that you have the album you didn't know that, hey, the guy that wrote this also wrote this, or the guy that produced it, or whatever. And you end up learning some interesting things. So I think it's always a fun exercise. And I also really like to see what the other guys come up with in relation to what we've picked. You know, because there's some that you would go, there's no way that this could be connected, but there you go. So it's always fun. So to that end, we'll dive into this, right? You guys ready? Okay.
We're ready.
Yep.
So the first one
Joe
I picked
froze
off
up.
my shelf.
No.
Oh, there you are.
Did I? I was just sitting still.
First one I picked was George Harrison's All Things Must Pass, which, if I'm not mistaken, was his first solo Beatles effort. Came out in the early 70s. I don't know the exact year. Let's see. Does it say on here? No, it does not, without me going into this a little further. This is a 3LP box. I have taken them out of the original sleeves and put them in sleeves from Vinyl Storage Solutions. They're on a George Harrison version of the Apple label, which is kind of neat. And then there's an Apple Jams right there. And then they all have these various colored inner sleeves with lyrics on them. They have a nice little box set. It's not a deluxe set by any means. Like, this is how the album was released. I have said I am not, I mean, a massive Beatles fan. Do I care about the solo Beatles? I do not. I have some McCartney. This is the only Harrison I have. I got one Ringo. I love John's solo stuff, but I never really followed the Beatles solo stuff. And I can honestly tell you, shamefully, I have never listened to this start to finish. And nor do I really care to be quite honest. I mean, it's probably good. Everyone says it's fantastic. I have this because it was my dad's. And he's a Beatle. So when my dad passed away and I went through his records, I'm like, well, I got to keep this because it's dad's and it's Beatle. And someday I'll probably listen to it. It doesn't really grab me per se, but maybe I just need to listen to it again because it's been years since I listened to it. But this is how we're starting. George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. And they must pass to Richard because he is our special guest. So,
well, I will try to do my best on this. I will tell you that this list of Connections albums, out of all of them, I own 2.
Yikes.
So this was tricky. I had to do some serious research.
I didn't go obscure on this, and I picked ones where I could think of Connections immediately, so I didn't want it to be too difficult. So I'm sorry.
Well, I had to work. Let's just say that. Okay, but for this one, I looked at the long list of contributing artists to that album. The man invited everybody and then some to participate, and some of them did not get particularly credited too much. And one that he invited was Peter Frampton, who played on I guess some of the more country songs. I guess there's some pedal steel guitar in there with the, and those were the ones that his guitar work was on a lot of those songs, and some of the overdubs that they did later. But Frampton's actually not credited anywhere on the album. So, thank you, Google. AI and all those things. Like, oh, Peter Frampton, I know who that is. Yay. And I chose this because I didn't want to choose Frampton Comes Alive because everybody chose Frampton Comes Alive. This one, I think this is Frampton's debut solo work. But Show Me the Way is on here, which was huge. Baby, I Love Your Way. Some songs like that, I'm usually like, oh God, I don't want to hear that song anymore. But in Frampton's case, I can handle it. Interestingly, Frampton Comes Alive was late for me. When I finally got it, I did not understand the hype. I was like, why is everybody rave about this album? I didn't think it was all that impressive. But anyway, so that's my collection. Frampton was a guest guitarist on that Harrison box set.
There we go. Well done. Luke is here. Greetings, Earthlings. I have a good copy of that Harrison set. It was my favorite Beatles solo artist. Disclaimer, is not a Beatles guy. All right, there you go. The record on saying cheers. So there you go. Okay. Joe, Daryl, who's going next?
Quick before Daryl goes, because it would be wrong for me to go before him. I know we've done our album covers that are the worst.
Yes.
I don't know if we added that one in or not. But there is that one.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, when you started talking about Peter, because I went to look and went, oh yeah, that album, which is not a horrible album, but it's a shit cover. Anyway,
it's a shit cover. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think he was rating David Bowie's wardrobe or something. I don't know.
It was something. I'm not exactly sure what. And yeah. So, but like I said, not a horrible album, but someone was off the day they picked the cover picture. That's for sure. So.
All right. Take it away, Daryl.
All right. So when I was doing this, I wanted to try to get an all Canadian connection to these, but there was a certain point when I got to one female solo artist that will be showing up later, and I went, I can't find any Canadian connection to this. So then I gave up. But the first, I would think 4 or 5 of these are going to have a Canadian connection. And like I do every time, I try to find some obscure connection to this. Now, the George Harrison album in 2014 was actually inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame as an album. And so I did find a Canadian connection, which is also inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame the exact same year that George Harrison's All Things Must Pass album was inducted. Now, I will say that I am shameful as a Canadian. I'm not a huge fan of this artist. There is one album that I think I should get, though, because it is highly praised. I'm not a huge fan of Neil Young. I don't know what it is. I'm not a huge fan of his voice and stuff. But After the Gold Rush is a Grammy Hall of Fame album. And like I said, it was inducted the exact same year as All Things Must Pass. And so that is my connection, is that they're both, and a gatefold. Pretty cool gatefold. Speaking of guitars, Rob.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's got a couple guitars going there. Yeah, a lot of acoustics.
But I mean, it's not a bad album, right? Southern Man is pretty good. After the Gold Rush itself, I forget what else is on here. But yeah, that is my connection. I want to try to get into Neil Young a little bit more. I'm not going to go as far as say that he's like Bob Dylan-ish to me. He's not that cheese grater-ish. But there's just something about him I have a hard time getting into. But I got to listen to Harvest again, because I think that is the album that might pull me in. So, yeah, I never would have thought that at least I wouldn't have thought that Neil Young and George Harrison would have had a connection at all, but apparently they do.
I kind of share your opinion about Neil Young. Respect him immensely. Don't want to listen to him. I have Harvest, as you know, because that's going to show up later this evening on my list of albums that I've picked. I've tried. I can't do it. Can't do it. And he's inspired so many of the musicians that I love, and I just can't do it. Yeah. what do I know? The answer, nothing. So, and to that end, here's Joe.
Speaking of nothing, knowing nothing, that was a nice segue, my friend. Very nice. I, much like Richard, went the route of artists that played on All Things Must Pass. I am a Neil Young fan, and I am very much a fan of George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, and George Harrison in general. I'm also a fan of these guys, and that is Badfinger.
Yeah.
And this is a gatefold. So they are credited as, what do they got on here? Percussion and rhythm guitar. They were on All Things Must Pass. And unfortunately, some of them did pass, and that's a story for another time. And if you're actually looking for a good video, not on my channel, but our good friend Alex from Beer and Vinyl has a really good Badfinger video. So go and check that out. But a shame, they were very, very good. And then there was just a whole bunch of things went wrong and went very wrong. So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, these guys, along with, as Richard said, many others. George brought in a lot of friends. Whether they were credited or not, these guys are actually credited. Badfinger is on there somewhere. So, and it is a nice package. I know it's you shouldn't talk about another man's package, but for a original box set before they were box sets as we know them, it was a pretty good deal between the booklets and just even, it sounds silly, but like the color scheme, like I said, the whole packaging was very nice. It was nicely done. So
Yep.
yeah,
Agreed.
there you go.
Agreed. That's a button I want to hit. So the other Badfinger connection, they were one of the first artists signed to the Beatles' Apple label.
Yep,
True.
they were.
And if I'm not mistaken, their first hit was written by Paul. It was "Come and Get It."
Yeah,
So there's some more Beatles connections.
yeah,
For
they're on the Apple label. Yes.
Yep.
So, yeah, Paul was a big fan. I think everybody
I think they
was.
all were. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But Paul really gave them some help along the way.
Yep. Only comment I missed here. Mike says he saw Frampton in Cleveland in 2000. He went to the Hall of Fame the same day.
Oh, nice.
Cool. I was, Hall of Fame. Everyone, it's a clique. It's whatever. It's political and whatever. And you're probably right, but if you ever get the chance to go, put the bullshit aside. Put the bullshit aside about who's in and who should be in and isn't in and whatever. Just go see the museum part of it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is so good. I went in the early 2000s and absolutely loved it. It was so
My
good.
wife surprised me with a trip there probably a dozen years ago, probably. And it's weird. I had this many sort of almost out of body experience. I remember I happened to walk around this corner and they had one of Hendrix's white Strats in a case hanging on the wall. And I've heard Hendrix my whole life, and I have Hendrix albums, and you see it, whatever. But then when the thing that he used to make the stuff you hear is right there, it's just, there's something about that.
Yep, I can see that.
I can't really describe it, but it's a cool experience. Go to the Rock Hall if you can, even if you think it's bullshit. It's worth it to see the museum part of it.
It is totally.
Yeah, just take the Hall of Fame aspect out, and you explain it well. No, I mean, yeah. I can imagine. I've never been. I'd like to probably get at some point. We'll see, but yeah, no, you explain it well. It's fantastic. That's great.
So, like, funny little Hall of Fame story. Years ago, I'm talking probably almost 20 years ago now, I had the opportunity to buy a Telecaster that had been owned by Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. It's actually the one that he recorded Janie's Got a Gun with. And I almost bought it, but instead I bought that one there, which is my pride and joy. It's a 78 Tele that's all original and amazing. But part of me still wishes that I had bought that Brad Whitford Telecaster because I'm a big Aerosmith fan. So we're at the Hall of Fame, and there was this one little Aerosmith exhibit with guitars and, the mic with the streamers on, all the, Aerosmith stuff. And I'm standing there kind of looking at it. And my wife had been looking at something else. She comes up behind me and she goes, I know a guy who almost bought one of their guitars. Thanks, dear.
Thanks, son. Yeah.
Thanks. I've regretted that I haven't bought it for, years and years. Thanks for reminding me. So, not that I regret buying that one because I absolutely love that one. It's my main guitar. But, yeah, anyway. Okay, back to me again. So we got to go like that. There we go. Okay. The second one on my list. May have talked about this record before. May have talked about this band before. Maybe. This is the Bangles. Wonder why I'm talking about the Bangles. I really like Susanna Hoffs. I mean, as do a lot of people, let's be honest. But I'm claiming her as my fantasy wife. This is their second album from 1985. Excuse me. This had 2 of their 3 monster hits on. They had 3 really big hits: Eternal Flame, Walk Like an Egyptian, and Manic Monday. Well, Walk Like an Egyptian and Manic Monday are both on this record. So this is their big one. There's Susie looking absolutely stunning right there. Yeah. So, I mean, there's an easy place to go with this, and then there's other places to go with this record. So where did you go, Richard?
Did you get your birthday card? Did you hear back from her at all? Or because that was last week, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, she didn't send me anything. She must have forgotten.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Better luck next year.
I know.
To try again. Yes, there are several little avenues coming out of the Bangles. But I went with the all-female band route.
Ooh.
So, and picking an all-female band, I wanted to get kind of, out there. I could pick the Go-Go's, I could pick whoever. But I went with a 70s band, all-female, heavy metalish, I would say hard rock, band called Fanny. Sisters Jude and Jean, I can't remember their last names, but anyway, first all-female ensemble to release an album on a major label.
Yep.
So there you go. This is their live 71-72 album. This is excellent. This was my introduction to them. I think I'd streamed their first couple of albums, and then I found this on Amazon for stupid cheap money, and I was like, sure, why not? And yes, Fanning is great. This is a great live set. I think it's like a radio show, or it might have been a TV thing, but it's stunning. I would have never known that about this had I not kind of jumped into it. On very colorful splatter orange red. But yeah, well worth hunting down. I wouldn't mind, picking up some of their early stuff. They're not easy to find, or at least I can't find them, and I'm not sure if they've been reissued. But that would be my connection, all-female band.
The first one with them standing backwards on the cover, the white one, that has been reissued because I just picked it up myself a little bit ago. But
cool.
Yeah, they fall into that category, kind of like Budgie, where really, really good stuff and not that many have necessarily heard lots of. We've all kind of maybe heard the name Fanny or Budgie or bands of that ilk. But yeah, good. And for the Chris Mann suggestion of documentary for the week, which I think I've said before, but it's good. The Fanny one is good. I can't tell you what streaming service it's on, but good. And yeah, they were pretty fantastic for back in the day. Can you imagine the bullshit they had to go through? I can't even imagine it. Girls can't play guitars. Girls are just supposed to be backup singers, or there's supposed to be 3 of you with your big hair and sing. That's all you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's good that they forged on. So and she's an awesome guitar player. Really, really good guitar player.
Actually. Amazing.
Yeah,
exactly. Joe, if you want to steer the ship for a second while Daryl goes, I just got to make sure my son's starting to get ready for bed because mom is sick in bed. So I'll be back one moment.
Before you go, Rob, real quick. This one, I believe you actually have a connection to this as well. Okay. You personally.
All right.
So I said I was going Canadian with this. The only thing I own is a 45 of this. But there's a member That is not Susanna, so you don't have to fight him off for this.
Okay.
Who is married to a Canadian
Yes.
by the name of John Cowsill.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I know that Rob knows.
I
some
do.
members
I
of
know.
the
I know
Cowsills.
John. I know John's nephew, who's Billy Cowsill's son.
So there we go. So this connection is a connection of the
I
connection.
do. Absolutely. And it's funny because a few months ago, Dell, who's John's nephew, posted a picture of him with his aunt and uncle in Niagara Falls. They came up to visit him in Niagara Falls. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, most people don't know who the hell they are, but I could just imagine myself walking down Niagara Falls and it's like, God damn it, there's Vicky Peterson and John Cowsill. Like I would have shit myself. So yeah. Very cool. I'll be back.
Just before you went, I wanted to just point that out. So yeah, the Cowsills. The only thing I own is this Polydor 45, The Rain, the Park, and Other Things, which is probably their most famous song. I would think, other than Hair. And I remember this not the album but the song distinctly because when VH1 used to show Peter Noone and My Generation, his show, The Rain, the Park, and Other Things was one of the videos that he used to have in regular rotation. And my dad was a huge fan of these guys as well. I always found them to be like Partridge-esque.
Sure.
Not the Monkees, but kind of like the Partridge Family and that kind of thing. But they're a pretty good band. And I just think that it's kind of cool that the Canadian connection to the Bangles is also a connection to Rob himself, right? That's kind of a neat thing. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's a 45. I know we normally don't show them on the program, but I thought it would be a really good way to go with this one. So I don't know what your all thoughts are on the Cowsills and that 60s kind of I don't know, like poppy, Partridge Family type.
Yeah, they're kind of bubblegum, if you will. And I guess the Partridge Family were kind of developed around that Cowsills concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only have one of theirs. It's a live one. And it is got Hair, obviously, starts with that, but it's just them in concert. But then everything else is kind of covers. Monday, Walk Away, Renee, Please, Mr. Postman, Good Vibrations, Sunshine of Your Love. That I can't put that together. I don't know if I've actually played that album, but it'll be interesting. Sunshine of Your Love, Paperback Writer, Reach Out, I'll Be There, Good Golly Miss Molly, Devil with the Blue Dress. So it's weird knowing a little bit of how they sound and then thinking of those songs. So I'm gonna have to go and listen to that album now. So
what single was that, Daryl? Sorry, I missed what the actual song was.
Yeah, so the single is The Rain, the Park, and Other Things.
Yeah, their big hit.
Yeah, their big hit. And I was saying that when Peter Noone had his My Generation show on VH1, he used to have that song, that video in high rotation with things like the Turtles and stuff like that. Just that 60s, late 60s pop kind of style. And my dad was a huge fan of those guys.
What I'm trying to find, since we're speaking Cowsills, my buddy's dad, Billy, he was kicked out of the Cowsills by their dad, who was the manager, because Billy was hanging around with Waddy Wachtel, who his father thought was a bad influence. And ultimately, Billy made his way to Canada, settled in Western Canada, and recorded a couple albums with a band that he founded called the Blue Shadows. There's a couple CDs, and I am trying to find them. But God damn, are they impossible to find. But it's good, that sort of kind of roots rock kind of stuff that I like. But I've been looking, and they just are not out there. But I'd like to find it one of these days.
lovely.
Record on saying that Polydor is probably a double-sided 45, and yes, the Partridge Family was based on it. Yes, they were. Here we go.
The flip side is Hair.
I love it. That's the first time I ever remember hearing them back in, exactly, a bunch of
That's our
Polydor.
theme song, isn't it?
It is. Give me a head with hair.
Yeah.
Long, beautiful hair. Shining, gleaming, streaming, flax. Holy shit, how do I know all the words? That's not right.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
I remember hearing that when I was a kid on the oldies radio station in town. That was my introduction to them.
That's when you find a lot, the soundtrack to Hair, or Jesus Christ Superstar and Hair. You find a lot of those in collections. That stuff was super popular because that was the rock musical of the day, right?
Yeah.
Of
Absolutely.
the days.
Absolutely. All right, Joe, where did you go with this one?
All right. I went with a guy that wrote a song on this album,
I'm glad someone went there.
but not that one.
I think I know where you're going. You're going with the other guy.
I'm going with the other guy, that
Yeah.
being Alex Chilton.
Yes, sir.
Wrote September Girls. It's on the second side. He wrote September Girls. Alex Chilton was in the band Big Star, another band that doesn't get the credit that it should. And I'm still looking for album number 1. The reissues are tough to find even. So anyway, he was also in the
I
box.
saw one last week. I wish I'd have known you were looking.
Yeah, I still need the first one. I've got the second, but I don't have record number
I saw
1.
a reissue of the first one last week.
Yeah, if you do again, there you go.
Okay.
Because I can't even get one through a distribution. But so Box Topped and Big Star, Alex Chilton, and there is a song by the band The Replacements called Alex. Well, I'm not going to get it close enough. Well, I might get it close enough. Anyway, Alex Chilton is the song by The Replacements, and it is in fact about kind of and their fondness for Alex Chilton because again. Big Star, another band that a lot of people appreciated what they were doing, but they just didn't get any traction. They didn't get any sales. And then, 20 years later, a bunch of people went, "Oh shit, we probably should have been listening to Big Star back in the day." And the Box Tops as well. The Box Tops I think I've got the one. It's a gold cover. It's got I don't even remember the single off the top of my head. Daryl, I think you remember.
Was it The Letter?
Yeah, The Letter. That's exactly it. Yes, yeah. So which is a great song again of its day, one of those kind of bubblegummy type things, but good story song. But yes, Alex Chilton of those bands wrote September Girls for the Bangles, not the other guy who is Christopher. What's he called on there? Is that his name, Christopher, on the album?
I believe that's how he is credited. I don't even know if it says. Let me check the liner notes.
I think it's just
I believe so,
or something. So, but yeah, The Replacements. This is a fantastic album. I listened to this today. I should show the front of it. So, and a really good band. They're never going back on Saturday Night Live, but they are a very good band. So,
yes, Manic Monday, words and music by Christopher.
yeah.
So, for those that don't know what we're talking about, Christopher is none other than Prince. And Prince had a bit of an infatuation with Susanna Hoffs. Can't understand why. So he wrote the song Manic Monday, which is about someone who's late for work because she's been a little bit busy doing some stuff. Literally, that's what the song is about. Great song. He gave it to them. It was a big hit for them. So Prince. But I'm glad someone went the Alex Chilton route. I wondered if anybody would. Alex Chilton wrote a number of songs for the Bangles on some of their other albums as well. So even up to, I think, on their reunion album, I think he did a song on there. So very good. Very good. Okay. The next one I had on the list, I just noticed the other day that Sam had this in a video, but I had picked this long before. This is a pretty landmark album, actually. Especially if you're an Americana fan like Sam or a country rock fan. Graham Parsons' Grievous Angel. This came out in 1974. I could say a lot about this record, but I'm not going to say a lot about this record because there are many ways you guys can go with this, and maybe I'll circle back and talk about it after you guys are done. So, Richard, where did you go from Graham Parsons? I figured this would be a hard one for you because I don't think this is really your wheelhouse.
No, not my wheelhouse at all. I don't have the album, never heard it. I would not even say I probably knew any songs off of it. But looking up information on it, there were a couple of names that jumped right out at me that I could have gone from Graham Parsons to Elvis, but I sidestepped Elvis and I went one step further. Here's why. does the name James Burton ring a bell with anybody?
Absolutely, the master of the
Rob
telecast.
and I are going to be like, oh yeah, I know James Burton.
Yeah, you think I know anything about James Burton?
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
Right. So let me check my notes here so I don't say this wrong. So James Burton played electric lead guitar on that album. And James Burton, I did not know this. Fun fact, ranked by Rolling Stone, had a list of 250 greatest guitarists. He was number 24 on that
And
list.
deservedly so.
And deservedly so. He's fantastic. And longtime player with Elvis's backup band. So if you watch like Aloha from Hawaii, you're going to see James Burton because he was in there. But, Elvis passed. What did James Burton do? He went and joined John Denver's band and started playing John Denver backup, and plays on this album, which is actually one of my favorite later John Denver albums, called Seasons of the Heart. And I'm not going to say it's a depressing album, but it talks about a lot of things like failed relationships within families, like father-son relationships that are struggling, spousal relationships, whatever. But it's kind of and even from the cover, you can tell this is kind of a dark album. So it does the gatefold. Got to show you. There you go. John, but song-wise, it's a strong song list for me. Seasons of the Heart is a gorgeous song. Opposite Tables is about brothers kind of sitting at two different tables, not talking. Islands is great. What else is on here? Shanghai Breezes and Islands, I think, were singles. So this is a really strong album. And, some people that I know are like, oh, wow, you like that album too? I like that one. So, John Denver is not all Rocky Mountain High and all of that. He has some deeper albums that are worth checking out, and this would be one of them. But yeah, James Burton joined John Denver's backup band for several albums, I think all the way up through like Dreamland Express, which was a later John Denver album before he passed. So there you go.
Cool. I have never seen that John Denver album ever. I mean, not that I've seen them all, but there's a bunch of John Denver albums, but I've never seen that one. So
a lot. Yeah, this is a later one. This is from how late? 82.
Yeah.
So the thing, here's me playing Gary Newman albums, still playing Kiss albums, and I'm still buying John Denver records. So
John Denver. Yeah.
Well, I was in North Dakota then.
A quick hello to Brian tuning in from Tokyo. Welcome, my friend. How you doing? We're doing connections tonight. I don't know if you've seen one of our connections episodes, but I prepared a list, shared it with these guys, and they all have to find an album related to each of the ones that I picked. So that's what we're doing this evening. So, all right, Daryl, take it away. Sorry,
All
the
right.
kids calling me.
As I mentioned, I tried to go with the Canadian theme as far as I could get. And I've got two more Canadian connections left here. This one was maybe a bit of a stretch, but maybe not. So if at the end of the day it's a huge stretch, I can just go, you know what, the genre is the connection, but I'm not going to do that because that's just cheap.
that's fair.
But there is a fine lady that is on actually the Grievous Angel album by the name of Emmylou Harris. Participates well. And she was married to a gentleman who is Canadian, actually from Nova Scotia, post this album. I think maybe just after this album they got married. I'm not sure. But he was a major producer here in Canada, and he produced lots of albums. And I will always, always champion this lady because not a lot of people do. But he was a major producer for Anne Murray at one point, and his name is Brian Ahern. And he was married for a period of time to Emmylou Harris, who is on the Graham Parsons album. And so my connection is Anne Murray's producer was married to Emmylou Harris, who had a big role in Graham Parsons' later career for sure. And so once again, if that doesn't necessarily 100% meet the standard, which I'm sure it will,
That'll work.
Anne Murray is a major Canadian country musician, at least in the 60s and 70s. And this one here was produced by the Straight, Clean, and Simple, was produced by Brian Ahern. And I like Anne Murray. I mean, she's not for everyone, but Snowbird and a lot of her 80s stuff I really dig. So, yeah, it's kind of funny that it is unlikely that Anne Murray would have had anything to do with the Graham Parsons circle, but Brian Ahern probably knew Graham Parsons at some point through his connection with Emmylou Harris.
All right, that's good, man. I wouldn't have thought of that one. Daryl, Brian wants to say that he's selected all his Canadian tag records, so he's going to work on it this weekend. So there you go.
Right on.
I'm filming mine this weekend too, by the way.
Yeah, it's a tricky one for a lot of the VC. I saw that Chris from Record Talk. He did a whole video on. I wasn't able to do these tags, but I'm going to do a couple of questions from each one. It was pretty funny, and mine actually made an appearance on there. So I'm glad that you're going to do that one, Brian, because it is tricky if you don't have, like, if anybody tries to go the all Canadian route, that's a tough one to do, but go with whatever you got.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Did you go the easy route on this one? Not saying you would. Oh, okay.
No, I went with Emmylou Harris, actually.
All right.
So, yeah, fantastic. Another, there's not a theme, but there is a bit of a theme tonight in underrated artists. Not underrated, underappreciated. I'm not sure.
Underappreciated, yeah.
It doesn't really fall for Emmylou Harris either, but in certain circles, let's just call it that. The other way I was going to kind of go is Linda Ronstadt's also a backup singer, but Emmylou is a lot of the singer on that album, along with a bunch of different things. And then on this fantastic album, Quarter Moon and a Half Cent Town, I think Graham wrote at least a couple of the songs on here as well. I don't think he's on here anyway, but Nicolette Larson. Anyway, Emmylou Harris, a big part of that album, and a fantastic artist that I really like. I listen to this. She's got such a great voice. She is certainly one of those that you have to maybe be in the mood for. But I like her a lot. And again, if you can judge the popularity of someone, I guess there's two ways to do it. She is one that falls into the category, the same as Linda, where there's always some of their albums for sale in used record shops. But
Yes.
There's always some for sale because they sold a whole bunch originally. So, I guess it's a double-edged sword of they're always around, but they were always around. That's why they are always around. So just good stuff. And then, so there you go.
So First Aid Kit sang their song Emmylou about her and Graham Parsons to Emmylou herself at the Polar Prize Awards. That's cool. Did not know that. Right on. Okay, so I picked it. I like this album. It's kind of considered sort of one of the foundational albums of country rock. So I had to own it. I got it because this is the Vinyl Me Please edition. It's on this kind of cool turquoise vinyl. It's great. I would have figured somebody would have went the easy way. Graham Parsons was one of the founding members of the Flying Burrito Brothers. So Gilded Palace of Sin, another landmark country rock record. Graham Parsons was also in the Byrds, another easy way to go. But you can see right at the top right there, it says, with Emmylou Harris. But who else is on here? Linda Ronstadt is on here. Bernie Leadon is on here, also from the Burrito Brothers and the Eagles. There's just a ton of people on here. Great record. Tons of different ways you could connect with this. This is one of those guys whose life tragically cut short, died of a heroin overdose. I think he's part of the 27 Club, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think
Or
so.
he's 29. Anyway, in his late 20s. Shocking. But you kind of go, man, this guy what could have happened if he hadn't been taken from us too early?
Mhm.
Who knows? Great record. I think Richard said he wouldn't know any hits on here, but I think you might know. I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't. You might know Hickory Wind. I don't know. Maybe.
Mhm.
I don't know. But anyway, just a enjoyable sort of country rock record. So that's why I picked it. Okay. I should have spaced these out, but this next pick he's Graham Parson adjacent, I guess, but maybe a little more mainstream.
Kind of.
And this is, so we talk about the worst album covers of all time. This has got to be one of them. Jackson Browne's Running on Empty. Great song. Horrible album cover. It was taken from a concert, so this is the screen behind the drummer of a road, and there's the drum kit. Like, what a shit album cover. Terrible. So it had Running on Empty was his big hit. Where are you going to go with that? Richard?
All right. This one was interesting, and I read deep into this one, and I had to look at kind of the format of how the album was recorded. So it's mostly kind of a combination of live recordings and stuff recorded in hotel rooms or buses, or it was just recorded on the road, pretty much. So it has the distinction of being a live album where none of the songs were on a studio album. Could I find one of those? And it turned out I could.
Excellent.
And it's HSAS Through the Fire.
Oh,
So Sammy Hagar's super group, if you will, a term that will come up later today too. So Sammy Hagar, Neil Schon, Kenny Aronson, and Michael Shreve. Just kind of a powerhouse super group. All of the songs on here are original, and they were done just for this album, so they're not on any other Hagar album or Journey or whatever. They kind of got together, put this together, wrote the songs together, and did it over like a couple of maybe several shows in Southern California, and that was about it. Slammed together and put it out. I think this is one of the best, live with a lot of overdubs recorded albums of all time. I love this. This is my Desert Island album. So my connection for this one is, albums that were recorded live where the songs never appeared on another studio album, and that would be this one. I have like 4 copies of this, different formats. One of which recently I picked up from Whatnot. That was Japanese pressing. That is stunning, and I got it for a steal, so I was quite happy about that. There you go.
That's a good way to make a connection. I like that.
I try.
That's going to be a lot better of a connection than I can do on this one. But this is actually where my Canadian connections comes to an end. This is my last one, and I'm actually going to do a twofer for this one. So there was a folk musician, folk artist named Tom Rush, and he apparently is credited with influencing Jackson Browne and that whole album. But he's also been credited. He's accredited with influencing multiple Canadian musicians at the same time that were doing stuff roughly around the same, I guess, period of time as some of these other albums that we've been discussing. And two of these are, well, one of these is actually one of the most famous female Canadian musicians. The other one I brought up last week during the show, and when we talk about Canadian singer-songwriters, we always think of Gordon Lightfoot. We think of Stompin' Tom to some degree with his country and songwriting. I've brought up Valdy in the past, but last week I talked about Murray McLaughlin. And according to Tom Rush and according to Murray McLaughlin, Tom Rush has been accredited with influencing the career and actually getting Murray McLaughlin kind of up and started in the 1970s in the same way that he did Jackson Browne. So according to what I'm reading and what I hear, is that they were all kind of in the same, wouldn't say musical circle, but they were in the same, I guess, situation, trying to get their feet off the ground. And so he is one that Tom Rush is accredited with helping in that direction and getting them on the roadmap. But the bigger one is Joni Mitchell. Apparently, Tom Rush, a folk artist. I mean, no doubting that Joni Mitchell is a folk artist, but has been credited with getting Joni Mitchell's career off the ground, so to speak. So it's funny. Tom Rush got Jackson Browne kind of off on the right foot. Gets Murray McLaughlin's career off on the right foot. And then Joni Mitchell. So he wasn't directly involved in their careers, so to speak, but he has basically been credited with assisting and helping them and getting them on the roadmap of folkish music in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. So that's my connection, is Tom Rush kind of assisted all three of them in getting their careers off the ground.
Cool.
Good
Very
one.
nice.
Good one. Sorry, I just had to tuck my son in, and he wanted me to ask you guys, do I look different than when I went upstairs?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You're missing a logo.
He goes, ask your YouTube buddies if they notice anything different. I said,
See if they notice anything different.
We did.
all right. Joe.
I'm going to go somewhat the same route as Richard. I was going to try and drill down to another song recorded on the tour bus. There's probably been, there's been songs written. I'm sure there's a bunch of demos that have been recorded, but I couldn't find, at least in the Google world, a song officially recorded and then on the album from the tour bus. And I don't remember which one on that Jackson Browne album is, but one was recorded right on the tour bus. Like you said, Richard, others were, they were in this auditorium, or they were in this rehearsal space, or they were somewhere. It wasn't a studio. So I didn't necessarily go. That's what I was going to try and do. That's not where I went. But
there's a whole Bryan Adams album done like that, Joe. I'm surprised you don't have it. It's called
I
Room
don't have
Service.
that. I don't have that. So, yeah.
I'm surprised.
It's on the list, though. It's on my want list.
I'm sure.
On Discogs. Yeah, my wish list. It's got to be creeping up to the very top now.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So what I went with is an album that took a couple of tries to get recorded, and it was recorded, or at least it was tried to be recorded in different spots. And that is Deep Purple's Machine Head. So I'm sure we all kind of know the story, and I'm just going to read because that way I'm not going to get it wrong. So they started off where they had booked some space at the Montrose Casino in Switzerland that burned down. Or no, they started off, they wanted to use the Rolling Stones mobile recording studio. That didn't work. Then they went to some place, the fire broke out, and then they went to the Pavilion, and they got a bunch of noise complaints, so that made them move once again to the empty Grand Hotel, and that is all documented in the one song, Smoke on the Water, a true song that I'm sure most know about. But yeah, if you listen to the words, those are all the places that they tried to get to and tried to record this album at, eventually ending up at the Grand Hotel. So Deep Purple and Machine Head, an album that tried to be recorded in a bunch of different places, unlike the Jackson Browne, which was actually recorded in a bunch of different places. It's almost like it is the Adam Sandler stand-up comedy special album of the world, because Adam does that lately. His specials are always different places, then they patch them all together. So there you go.
All right. Well done. Hey, look who's tuning in. Chris from Stylist Meets Vinyl. How you doing, buddy? Hope all's well. We're doing connections tonight.
Yeah, Chris, I just built your game show avatar, hoping at some point you'll join us on the game show. I've been doing a bunch of people that I want to come on. I haven't asked them yet, and I haven't got any confirmation yet, but I've got all of their avatars built, much like I have one for you, Richard. You have an avatar too for the game show, so hopefully you will join us sometime. I know it's a little late, but hopefully you'll come and join us and play along one time. So,
okay. So the next one on my connection list, I own one album by this artist. because I like one song by this artist. And this is an album I would never buy. I mean, unless I found it cheap. But this was VCLT from Keith at Attack Down Under because he knew I was looking for this record, for this one album. I frankly don't give two shits about this person, but I do like this one song. So, Madonna's Like a Prayer. Like I said, I don't give two shits about Madonna. I get how important she was, whatever, just not my thing. But I loved the video, I loved Like a Prayer. It was controversial at the time. You know, there was some obvious religious connotations attached with that. The video was very controversial. Great song. She was hot as hell in the video. So I'm like, yeah, if I ever find one of these cheap, I want to buy it. Never did, but thankful to Keith who sent this to me. So there you go, guys. Madonna, Like a Prayer.
He said sheepishly, Madonna.
I mean, I feel weird owning a Madonna record, right? Like that's shit my wife listens to. It's not shit I listen to.
I've seen Madonna live 3 times. I saw her on the Music Tour, the album after that, and 3. And when I moved back here in 2002, there was another album, and I saw her again. So I've seen her 3 times. I like Madonna. I have a huge appreciation for her. I can't say I've listened to much by Madonna in the last 20 years. So that might be, that video series I'm doing, that might be something I'll play. Who knows? Where am I going to go with Madonna? I'm going to go from Madonna to industrial music. Here's how.
Cool.
What label was Madonna on?
Sire.
So
you're going with Ministry, aren't you?
Yeah, right. I think by this time I'm just like, I need an easy route out of this one. So I went Sire Records. So I could have picked the Smiths. I could have picked Echo and the Bunnymen. I could have picked Soft Cell. I could have picked anybody. Sire was huge in that era. I mean, they seemed like they were signing everybody. But for my money, Sire got Ministry. Mm-hmm. And I love me some Ministry. I've seen them more than I've seen Madonna. There you go.
Yeah.
And Ministry with the last mosh pit I ever did. And I was kind of like in my 40s. I'm like, it's time to stop doing mosh pits when you're in your 40s. But yeah, Psalm 69 came out the year I saw them at Lollapalooza in 92 with Pearl Jam and Lush and a whole slew. Red Hot Chili Peppers were the headliners. They were the loudest band I swear I've ever heard at up to that time. They just kind of went, noise ordinance? What noise ordinance? And just turned everything up to 11 and blew the entire Fiddler's Green. Joe knows where that is.
Yeah, been there, yeah.
And it was raining and it was crazy. But anyway, loved this album. And Jesus Built My Hot Rod, all of those fun songs. My thing with Ministry is like the longer they went on, the more political and venomous they got towards Bush and that whole every administration got attacked by Al Jorgensen, so it got tiresome to me, so I've kind of gone off of them. But there was a run of Ministry albums that they could do no wrong for me. I bought them all. I loved them and saw them any chance I could. But yep, there you go, from Madonna to Ministry.
Yes, I can only imagine what Al Jorgensen is going to say about the current administration in his new album. He does go really political, and I'm amazed the guy is still alive. He is like the Keith Richards of the industrial world. I mean, the guy is as heroin drug addict as it gets, and I mean, when they use the comment about people with piercings, he fell into a tackle box. Al Jorgensen is the tackle box king.
Big time.
But that album is amazing. I that was like high school for me, that one there. Now, speaking of not Ministry, this is like the reverse of this. And we alluded to this gentleman earlier who wrote some songs for this album, actually, and previous on the Bangles album went by Christopher. And that is Prince, who definitely had his hand in the the writing for some of the songs, collaborated with Madonna, I believe, on that album, but I think he had some foot in the water on a few of her albums. And I've got this one, and I forget the other one I've got, but Purple Rain. I'm not a huge Prince fan, but this one here is a fantastic album. I mean, for a soundtrack, and I've never seen the movie, and I have no interest in watching the movie, but for a soundtrack, this is incredible from start to finish. This one here, Let's Go Crazy is just a party anthem. Darling Nikki, do we want to talk about prostitutes on this episode, or are we going to leave that for last week?
Hey, we can always talk about hookers and prostitutes,
Yeah, well, talk about Darling Nikki then. Go with that one. I Would Die for You, Purple Rain itself. I mean, When Doves Cry. I mean, this is a stellar album from start to finish, and it's. I think that both Madonna and Prince had their quirky ways, but at the same time, you think to yourself and go, really, Madonna and Prince working together just doesn't seem like a combination that would have worked, but it was a match made in heaven, at least for the Like a Prayer album. He did a lot of co-writing and things like that on there. So I went, I guess, maybe the easy way on that, and I took Prince and I went with the co-writing route.
Nothing wrong with that.
I tried to find an album that Ryan Reynolds sang on. I know Hugh Jackman is on the one soundtrack, if you can find it, Les Mis, right? Because he was in Les Mis, if I remember correctly. Anyway, from Deadpool, they used Like a Prayer and used it fantastically. I too went with Prince, so we'll just move on. He plays guitar on Like a Prayer as well as wrote some stuff. So yeah, little crossover of a couple pretty big icons on that album. I'm not sure if she ever reciprocated or he ever asked. That's the thing. I don't know how often Prince had other people on his albums. He had his fingers out on a lot of people's other stuff, but it never, whether he didn't want it or people just thought, no, he knows what the hell he's doing, I'll just leave him alone. But not a lot of collaboration. A little bit. Sheila E. Obviously, there was Apollonia. There was all that kind of stuff. But you never saw Madonna, like a Prince song featuring Madonna, where you saw Madonna, but not necessarily featuring, but predominantly.
Yeah. I was thinking about the same thing, Joe, because he did the same thing with, like, how many times Weird Al asked him to do a song and stuff, and Prince wanted nothing to do with it. He was very himself.
Yeah.
Not into himself. I'm not saying like he was an arrogant, egotistical maniac, but he was very. I don't think he wanted other people dipping into his territory.
Yeah, Paisley Park, the gates were locked, I think, a lot of the time, but he went out and not a lot came in. It didn't seem like so.
Yeah.
It just seems interesting to want to be a fly on the wall when Madonna and Prince were getting together. Was it a contest of egos, especially with Madonna? But she was rising at the time, so I don't know.
Yeah, when I was researching, there is a good story about how they really didn't get along a lot, and it ended up he made cassettes and center cassettes and stuff like that. So I think if you Google Madonna, Prince, and Like a Prayer, you'd probably run into that story somewhere along the line. So yeah. One sec.
I think we're boring you, Rob.
No, it's it's just been the wife being sick, and needs more sleep. But anyway, we soldier on. Okay, all right. The next pick. I tried to show some stuff that I don't normally show, records that it wouldn't normally be sort of in my wheelhouse kind of thing. So this is a guy that I wrote off that I had zero interest in listening to, and that's Rod Stewart, because I'm like, I think of him as that, sort of, crooner old guy, kind of like my father-in-law listens to, and I'm just like, that shit is not of any interest to me. And that was always what I thought of him, his tight pants and shimmying his ass around. I'm like, why would I want to listen to that? And then a few years ago, when I was doing one of those interviews I did with my buddy Bob Egan from Wilco, he was going over some of the albums that influenced him as a musician, and he showed this, and I went, "Oh, what the hell?" And he goes, "This fantastic rock record. Have you ever heard it?" I'm like, "No." I mean, I knew I think Maggie May's on here.
Yep.
I knew that song. I didn't know the rest of it. I'm just like, the hell do I listen to Rod Stewart for? That's not rock and roll. He goes, "This album is." And so I found it at a record show last year. And it was like $5. I'm like, shit, I better buy it. And it's a goddamn good record. Will I ever own another Rod Stewart record? Probably not. But this one is well worth owning. It's a gatefold. I'll hold it this way. There you go. So yeah, every picture tells a story from, I don't know, early 1970 something. So, where'd you go with that, Richard?
There were a lot of ways I could have gone, but I kind of went with chart success with this one. So that particular album from 1971 was number one in both the US and the UK. So I looked to see if there was another 1971 that was a number one in the US and the UK. And it turns out there were not a whole lot of them. One of the albums we've already talked about was, can you guess which one?
No. 70, no. George.
Yeah, All Things Must Pass was a 1971 album, but I didn't do that. I went with a different one. And this is an album I got really late to. My sister liked this album. I didn't understand it when it first came out. It didn't make much sense to me, and it didn't make much sense to the world, I think. And it was McCartney's Ram. And for me, this was like a slow grower. It took forever for me to really kind of get into this and go, oh, there is some really interesting stuff in here. I think it took reading about the Beatles and reading about McCartney and reading about the history and how some of these albums got put together before I finally was like, yeah, I really do need this. So this was a 1971 album. It did go to number one in the US and the UK. And this is the Apple, what is it? The, what do you call them when they do those? Abbey Road, the Abbey Road reissues where they remaster it and make it all sound pretty. This is a great sounding album. So if you're looking for a version of Ram that doesn't, snap, crackle, and pop like a bowl of Rice Krispies, could you find it used? Find this. Relatively inexpensive, I think. Did I show the gatefold? I forget. I'll show it again. There you go. Another look at the gatefold. Good album, but yeah, I'm getting to the point where there's not a whole lot of McCartney solo and wing stuff I don't have, but some that I'm not really hell-bent to get on vinyl. So if I find them on CD, yay, that's great. But Ram, I have on CD, that album, probably have an older version somewhere too, because I got some appreciation for it. So yeah, from Rod Stewart in 71 to McCartney Ram in 71.
Okay.
Well, we're going to talk about musicians that Rod Stewart definitely has worked with, that used to be in his former band Faces, but then went on to have a big career, and I believe he continues to have a career with a major band. So I'm going to show an album that I got from my good friend Joe here. He sent it to me as some VCLT. And I think we often dismiss this band once they get to the 1980s, I think. So the guitarist on that album is Ronnie Wood, who would then go on to play for the Rolling Stones. And this is the Steel Wheels album with Mixed Emotions, which I actually think is a fantastic song. And I don't know what it is. A lot of people, I think it's like a lot of other bands, right? Where you have a very like Van Halen and stuff, where you have a very specific area or period of time that you like it. You never really hear much about the Rolling Stones of the 80s. And this is a really good album though. And so yeah, my connection is, Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood played together in Faces. they then collaborated on said album, and then Ronnie Wood went his way and was picked up by the Rolling Stones and became their guitarist. And he's still the guitarist of Rolling Stones now, eh? Ronnie Wood.
He is. Yep.
So yeah, that's my connection, and it's an album that I haven't shown before out of my collection, and you don't ever see it in the VC. When you think about the Rolling Stones, it's always, Her Majesty's thing or whatever it is, the earlier stuff. It's never their 80s music. So and I think that their most recent album there, the Hackney Diamonds, is fantastic. I can't believe that it's that good for a band the guys are in their late 70s, early 80s, and they're still making music like that. So, you're either a Beatles fan or a Stones fan, and you know which way I'm going with this. So
that is one of
both. But
that is one of only
really hard to find. It's nowhere.
That is one of only 2 Rolling Stones records I own, only because someone gave it to me. You know what you know how I feel about the Rolling Stones.
You mean they're the polar opposite of the Beatles?
Correct. Listen, I respect them. I just don't enjoy their music. So
fair enough. Yeah, they're not for everybody. Definitely not.
No, I've got that, and I've got Hot Rocks because I liked a few of those early, like Ruby Tuesday and Under My Thumb. Like I liked a few of those, but I grew to hate the Rolling Stones because I was married once. I mean, I'm married now, but I was married once before in my early 20s to a crazy person, and she played the Rolling Stones relentlessly. And so now I hate the Rolling Stones. Let's leave it at that. Follow that, Joe.
Her Majesty's Thing, I think that was actually the working title for God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols, but I'm not sure of that. So if you listen to that album, if you know that album, the mandolin plays a big part on that album, including the start of Maggie May, Mandolin Wind as well. And if you look on the credits, the credit on there for the mandolin player is, I'm just looking here, the mandolin player from Lindisfarne. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but anyway, that was a band. And when they asked Rod or whoever was doing the liner notes, I'm not sure exactly why somebody couldn't actually look the dude's name up on the credits, because Rod said, I don't know, I don't remember his name. I just know he's the mandolin player from the band Lindisfarne. That's what made the credits. Anyway, his name is Ray Jackson. He was in that band. He didn't do much else, but he is also the mandolin player of note for one Mr. Chris de Burgh on his album, on the first one. I talked about Chris, I think, last week. I think I have all of his albums. I have not the one with Lady in Red on it because I don't want to hear that song ever again in my life. But I like Chris. Yeah, I know. I say that every time. It's a bad joke, but it's true. I hate that song, but I like Chris de Burgh. So the mandolin player, and he actually tried to sue Rod Stewart because he felt that the mandolin part was a very big part of Maggie May, and in fact it was, but he never got any writing credit. He wrote that mandolin solo, I guess if you can call it, but he never got any credit. He tried to sue him. He didn't. And he didn't go on to much other fame. He's still out there, I believe, according to what I could find, but he is the mandolin player of note on Chris de Burgh's album. The first one, Far Beyond These Castle Walls. So there you go.
All right. Well done. Okay. Next up is a soundtrack from the 80s. It's not the greatest soundtrack ever, which is Grease 2. But we could have gone that way. But we didn't. We went with this movie, which I love, Crossroads, with Ralph Macchio, Karate Kid. It's the story of, I don't remember his character's name, but Ralph befriends this blues player from a senior citizen's home and busts him out of the senior citizen's home. And they go on essentially a pilgrimage to the crossroads, just like Robert Johnson did. This, sell the soul to the devil to become a blues musician. And it's a great movie. My only criticism would be the duel with the devil at the end, who is Steve Vai, is really dated. Like it's 80s cheese, unfortunately. The rest of the movie is absolutely fantastic. And I can't believe, Daryl messaged me, which Crossroads is it? I'm like, well, it sure as shit isn't the Britney Spears movie. So
He was just hoping. That was wishful thinking.
it was. So original motion picture soundtrack. There's a metric shit ton of famous people on this record. So I'm interested to see where you guys go with that. I thought this was going to be the easiest one of them all, but apparently it wasn't.
No, this
I'm
was
sorry.
hard. And it was interesting because I looked up. Well, first of all, I noticed there were 2 Crossroads, so I was also asking which one is
Right.
it. The 2002 one was easy because it's like, oh, I could pick 14 different bands. But this one proved hard. I had to text you again, and you actually helped me. Thank you very much. So,
Okay.
I went with the Steve Vai angle, and there's a lot of different ways you can go with the Steve Vai angle, but I did not realize this until I think it was like the day before yesterday when I found out that Steve Vai worked on a Public Image Limited album with Johnny Rotten. So he's actually all over their 1986 album called Album, with a cassette called Cassette, and the CD was called Compact Disc, and the poster was called Poster, and the single was called It was in that era of generic everything. So, and I pulled this out today, and I made a short with the song Rise, because that single came out 40 years ago this week. So it's like, oh, perfect. So that worked out well. So Steve Vai is actually all over this. I give credit to John Lydon for a lot of things, other than sometimes he could be a dick. But he collaborates with some of the most fascinating musicians, and he surrounds himself with amazing musicians to make amazing, fascinating, to me, albums. He is not something for everybody. But this album definitely has a Steve Vai feel to it, as far as like the guitar and the melodicism and everything. Highly recommended. Public Image Limited album from 1986 with Steve Vai. There you go.
All right.
If you look up the term "dick" in the dictionary, it is actually a picture of Lydon. I think I'm not 100% sure of that. Some dictionaries, but he's pretty good at what he does. So,
All right. Well, this one wasn't difficult. Initially, I wanted to go with Ry Cooder, but I don't have anything by him or with him on it. So I went. This is literally straight up this was the easiest one for me. Almost a cop out in a way, but my connection actually is going to be Ralph Macchio, and it's also going to be a soundtrack. And after you were talking about this earlier, I just realized that this cover has Ralph Macchio with a senior citizen on it. So on both covers, he is with a senior, and they're both fantastic movies, a couple of years apart. And so that's my connection, is the Karate Kid Part 2, which is absolutely fantastic. And like Crossroads, I think there might be a couple of things in there that are a little just cheesy, outdated stuff. The wax on, wax off. You ask any teen, like, I guess maybe because I'm a teacher, and you'll do the wax on, wax off thing, and the kids will look at you like, what are you fucking talking about? What does that mean? Because they've never seen it, but it's one of the most famous movies of all time, right? I wouldn't say it's the greatest soundtrack in the world, but I mean, come on. Glory of Love.
This is the greatest
Glory of
soundtrack.
Love is amazing. It really is. I love that theme song. So, so my connection is Ralph Macchio himself.
Very
on
good.
2 covers, 2 soundtracks, and as we've established, as I just realized, 2 seniors that he works with in the movies.
So I just watched an interview on YouTube with Pat, what's his name, that plays Mr. Miyagi.
Arita, yeah.
Yeah. He speaks English like you and I do. And he had to make up the accent for he doesn't talk like that at all. He goes, I guess he was saying, when he auditioned for the part, he goes, I sounded too American and they made me, put on this way over the top accent. And it was weird to see that voice, because in my head it's Daniel-san, wax on, wax off, right? Like it was weird. It was a strange juxtaposition.
You got to go back and watch some of the old Happy Days episodes.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
I never watched. I mean, I'm familiar with Happy Days, but I've not watched it. That's
slightly ahead of your time, but right in Richard and I, right in the pocket for Richard and I. So
yeah, definitely.
Ry Cooder, Steve Vai, lots and lots of different ways to go. I went with a guy that plays harmonica on not all the album, but a lot of the album, and that is one Mr. Sonny Terry, Brownie McGhee and Sonny Terry. He's on, again, not all of it, but great blues. This is a great blues album. And of course, that is a great blues movie as well. But yeah, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGhee on this album. And there he is playing harmonica. The harp on the back of that. And pretty fantastic harp player, actually. He is on a ton of records, but he just happens to be on there. You could have gone the Ry Cooder route, and there's a whole bunch of really, really good music. And then there's other movies that Ry Cooder worked on. There was a lot of different ways you could have gone with this one, but I went with Mr. Terry. And this is on the Blues Way. That's the ABC, the Blues Way. But yeah, there you go.
okay. I had figured, and I'm surprised Richard struggled with this, because the easiest way to go on this album is Jim Keltner. If you don't have 20 albums that Jim Keltner is the drummer on, I will give you $20.
Yeah.
I guarantee you have 20 albums that he plays drums on. He's been on 1,000 albums. So, and the other one I thought that was kind of easy too, Van Dyke Parks.
Yeah,
co-lyricist with Brian Wilson. So, but the Jim Keltner thing, I thought that's between Ry Cooder and Jim Keltner. Man, that's going to be, and Steve Vai. I figured that's a no-brainer. Great soundtrack, not as good as Grease 2. But.
Do you have a favorite scene from Crossroads that is equal to your favorite scene? Like,
no, not in the same way. Absolutely not.
No, I don't think so.
Absolutely not. I don't think there's any scene in any movie that rivals the Cool Riders theme from Grease 2. Okay. This is an album I don't talk about a lot and I don't show a lot. Santana's Abraxas. I had an affinity for this record. When I was 16, 17, whatever, discovering music, and I was all in. I originally, as a kid, I liked Elvis, and then I discovered the Beatles as a teenager and just was all into music. And I was listening to the band and Creedence and that. And my dad, who was a giant music lover, and as I've said many times, the reason that I am the way that I am, more than just for music, but for many reasons, was trying to broaden my horizons. And one of the first CDs he ever gave me was Santana's Abraxas. I did not get it at 16 years old. I don't even know if I still have the CD. I don't think that I do. And so it wasn't until after my dad passed and I kept this from his record collection. And I was 31, I think, when my dad passed. And it was in my late 30s, which wasn't that long ago, that I went, I get it now. And I get why he was trying to get me to listen to this. So a lot of this stuff I've come around to later in life, and I wish that he was around that I could enjoy this with him. But nonetheless, this is one of the albums I think of when I think of Dad. So, Carlos Santana, Abraxas from 70. I don't know when the hell it came out. So,
70.
70?
That's me. There were a lot of ways to go because, Carlos Santana worked with all kinds of people, but, the core of Santana was like, Neil Schon and a few others, including Greg Rowley. So Greg Rowley left Santana to go with Neil Schon, who was also in Santana, to form Journey of all things. So, yeah. Love, hate, Journey, I don't care. You got to kind of respect some of they have some good songs that were huge hits. They got played to frickin' death on the radio. But some albums got played more than others. This one probably got a little less airplay, and I'm thankful for it because this is probably my favorite of the Journey albums. That Escape, there they are looking all cool and hip and whatever. But yeah. So I went the Journey route and just kind of, Greg Rowley from Santana went and formed Journey with Neil Schon, also of Santana. Totally different genre of music, but there you go.
Good. I'm glad somebody went there.
Right on.
Where'd you go, Darren?
All right. So at the top of the show, you said, Rob, that one of the reasons that you like doing this, and I know I do for sure, and I'm sure that Richard, you tune in and you like, all about and Joe, we like learning new things, and when you do this, you research and stuff like that. And one of the things that I was reading about this is that it's a pretty big honor to be honored as part of the Library of Congress collection.
Yeah.
And so Abraxas is in that collection. It's been put in as a record or music piece that is culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant and move forward. So this is the route that I went as I was looking at that list of records and stuff. And I mean, there's baseball clips and stuff that are in there from the 1920s and 30s, like historically significant stuff. And this is going to be a twofer because this might be the second one I'm going to show, maybe one of the weirdest connections that we're going to see all night and possibly ever in this. So this first one, Green Day, is actually in the Library of Congress, the Dookie album. So my first connection to this is the Green Day one, because from I guess, I don't want to call it like true punk, but I mean, from 90s punk, I mean, these guys turn heads on this. This is this, and we've talked about this album many times on the show, that every time you look at this cover, you find something new and just crazy stuff. And I can't remember what you said, how you can find it's like an original or whatever. There's something on it.
On the back, if you see Ernie from Sesame Street, someone holding up an Ernie puppet, that's an original.
Yeah.
And then
and so
whoever owns the rights to Sesame Street, I don't know whoever that was, made them airbrush it out.
Yeah. It's just crazy, and it's a fantastic album. Like this whole thing from start to finish is just a banger album. I mean, it's something. It took me a little bit when I was in high school, and my story, my connection to it is one of the first CDs I ever bought was with I won a shop award in my high school, and it was a $25 gift certificate. And the first thing I did, I ran down to the record store and bought Green Day's Dookie with my high school award. So that's the first one. And I mean, that shouldn't come as a surprise. That's going to be it's in Congress because it did make changes. But the one I think this was nominated and placed in there last year, either 24 or 25. And I've talked about this. This is an album that I will never get rid of because my daughter got it for me. The Minecraft Alpha soundtrack is in the Library of Congress now as something that is culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. So this here is at the same echelon as Abraxas, which I think is something really cool to me. So learn something new, and that's my connection, is these Library of Congress collections.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
All right,
Chicken jockey. So what else besides Neil Schon do Journey and Abraxas have in common? For me, it's the artwork. Journey always had fantastic artwork on their album covers. That was always great, as did Santana on most of. There's one that's pretty basic, but other than that, the lion on the very first one, Abraxas, the art on that is unbelievable. And the artist, which I'm going to look at because I couldn't remember his name for sure, but the artist's name is Matti Klarwein, or Klarwein, Klarwein. He has done some record albums. And in fact, he has done this one by a little guy by the name of Miles Davis. This is also, and you can kind of see the similarities between the Abraxas cover and this one. But this is a fantastic album. It's definitely Miles. I don't know if it's Miles at his best, but it's Miles at one of his best for sure, and lends itself to listen from everybody. I think there's Miles on the inside smiling, and but the artwork on the outside is the same gentleman that did the artwork on Abraxas. And then one more that I've got. He's got a number of different ones, but there is one more that I've got. And what's cool about them is that at least the ones that I've got, and then what I could see, is they are ones that if you fold them out, they do continue to go to the front and the back. Now, this one doesn't necessarily flow as much, but this is Earth, Wind, and Fire, Last Days and Time. But there is some fantastic artwork. And he, again, what is the gentleman's name? Mati, Mati, is the artist of note on there. There's a whole bunch of different photographs of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So he kind of had a genre and a style. Again, if you look, you can see definitely that is very similar and the same somewhat aesthetic as Abraxas. But good stuff. Would make fantastic full-blown paintings. Again, most Santana albums are that way. Again, the Big Lion and even Supernatural, which is over here somewhere. He continued that. I love when artists have a great theme on their covers, and they kind of continue to do that. Steve Earle's like that too. And again, I can't remember the gentleman that does. He did El Corazon, and then I think he's done every Steve Earle album since. It's just been the same artist. So even Derek Riggs on all the Iron Maiden stuff. Whether you like that style or not, it's been a continuation and some fantastic artwork that Maiden has continued to have with Eddie and Derek's stuff. So there you go.
I'm surprised no one took the easy route. What's the big hit off of Abraxas?
I think Black Magic Woman, probably.
Black Magic Woman.
Yeah.
So the connection there is that's actually a Fleetwood Mac song. Not Rumors Fleetwood Mac, but Peter Green Fleetwood Mac when they were a British blues band. Peter Green wrote that about an ex-girlfriend. And Santana was a big Peter Green Fleetwood Mac fan. And one day at Soundcheck, Greg Rowley was playing Black Magic Woman, and Santana went, "We need to cover that.
We should do that."
So they did, and he Santanified it, and they put on it's got an intro that was and I'm not going to pronounce this right. It's a song called Gypsy Queen by someone named Gabor Szabo.
Gabor Szabo, yeah.
And they sort of put that intro on, and then it and so the Santana version of the Fleetwood Mac song went to number 4 in the U.S. and Canada, much bigger hit than the Fleetwood Mac version was. So
a lot of bongos. You could have went with the bongos if you wanted. You could have, a lot of bongos. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, moving along. All right. This was, I don't know if Chris from Styles Meets Vinyl is still watching. This was the first VCLT I ever got. This is The Firm, which came out in 1985, and it is a collaboration between Jimmy Page and Paul Rogers, which struck me as interesting. Chris showed this in a video, and I went, how did I not know that exists? And so Chris sent me a copy, and it's great. So there's obviously 2 very easy ways to connect to that, but I'm curious what you guys came up with.
I did not do that. So what is, if you look at the genre of what kind of band members make up a group like The Firm, my mind went right to supergroup. So if you have a supergroup of big names coming together to collaborate to make a different style of music, which The Firm very much was, why not go to the Power Station? You have Robert Palmer. Oh, God, who else is in here? The guys from Duran Duran. John Andy Taylor, yeah, and members of Chic, Tony Thompson, and was produced by Bernard Edwards, who was also of Chic. So a very interesting collaboration as far as styles and music go went into this. This is a great sounding album. I probably should have covered up the boobies here, but
yeah,
oh well.
I was gonna say that's how you get boobies on your album cover, and you can't get grief because they're animated. But
really, but there we go.
That's the first time I even noticed that was even on there, Richard.
Actually, you could have
even noticed that.
You could have shown that for the Santana Abraxas because there's boobies on the cover of that one too. But anyway, that's enough saying the word boobies. Go ahead.
Great. But Bang a Gong, their version of Bang a Gong on this is spectacular. I would argue, I would say it's better than the original, but maybe not. What else was big on this? Some Like It Hot was all over the radio. So there were a couple of songs, but what strikes me more than anything is the production on this. It's a huge sounding album. And yes, that was kind of pervasive when did this come out? Like 85, somewhere around there. Ooh, I was right. 85. Wow. Good memory.
Very nice.
But 85 was that, big bombastic 80s sound where everything was over the top and layers and layers of stuff. But it's the clarity of this. It's a great sounding album. You think it might be a direct metal master. It sounds so good. So there you go. Back cover, them looking all cool. God, that's a fun, raunchy album cover. But anyway, Power Station, supergroup to supergroup. There.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Choice. Good choice. Daryl, you are up, sir. There you go.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I didn't get this incorrect. So there we go. All right. So I think I probably went the easy way on this. So there is definitely a cover song that is on that album. So I decided to go with the Righteous Brothers because on that Firm album is You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling, which I believe is it their original song? Like, I know that they did it with, what's his name? Phil Spector and all. I can't. The name that we don't want to talk about because he's a dick. But Phil Spector, I don't know if this is, if this was their original. I think it was. But yeah, anyway, the Firm did a cover of the Righteous Brothers. So I went the easy route on that because I didn't really have too much. I could have went with the Led Zeppelin route and just showed Led Zeppelin. Could have went that way too, but I don't have the Led Zeppelin album that would have been more associated with it than what I have, so I didn't go that route. So I just went with the Righteous Brothers and You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling. And if Chris Mann is choosing to watch this later on, hey, it's the greatest hits. So I went with You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling, which is, I believe, a cover on, I don't know what side of that album you got there, but it is a Firm cover.
Side 2.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I went that road. I went a little easy. I said, okay. I didn't have the right album to go with Led Zeppelin on that one. So I went with the Righteous Brothers instead.
Nothing wrong with that. Most people wouldn't think Righteous Brothers, Led Zeppelin, right? So nothing wrong with that.
So, as Richard said, drums were a big part of both the Power Station, which was Roger Taylor, not Roger Taylor from Queen, but Roger Taylor from Duran Duran, Andy's brother. But the drummer on the Firm is one Chris Slade, which most will know as the drummer of note on AC/DC's Thunderstruck, at least on the video. I think Phil was still on the album. But Chris Slade also the drummer for this band for a couple of albums, The Roaring Silence by Manfred Mann. And you know this one because it has Got Blinded by the Light on it by a guy we have not mentioned yet this evening, but there you get your Springsteen reference once tonight anyway. So, but yeah, Chris Slade, like I said, who is the drummer, if you watch the video for Thunderstruck, and he's toured with AC/DC a number of times as well. In fact, no, he wasn't the drummer of note the last tour, and he's not again this time out. But anyway, Chris Slade was the drummer in the Firm, was the drummer in AC/DC's Thunderstruck video, along with some other stuff, and he was also the drummer for this and one other Manfred Mann album, but not a bigger one. So I chose The Roaring Silence, which has Blinded by the Light by some kid named Springsteen, and this was Greg's album. Joanne and I were watching. We were watching Antiques Roadshow last night, and someone had something, and it had the label on it or whatever. And Joanne goes, "People used to label everything," and I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm going to talk about a label tomorrow night." And there you go. But I don't care. The vinyl's good. I don't care if Greg put his name on there. That's fine. So there you go.
Okay. I had to Google this because I don't speak Russian. Do you guys speak Russian?
Net.
Right.
Yet.
So Paul McCartney's The Russian Album, which I think is colloquially,
Really?
thank you, what it is known as. It is Chopa BC. So that is Russian for back in the USSR, which is obviously the Beatles song that leads off the White Album. I don't have a ton of McCartney, and I know I said earlier I don't usually give two shits about most of the solo Beatles stuff. But this is an interesting one for me because, as Richard and I have said, we're big Elvis fans. And there's a lot of like that sort of like That's All Right, Mama. I love that Elvis Sun Records period. I think that was his best, and the Comeback Special era. But like That's All Right, Mama's on here, and a lot of that early kind of rock and roll, like 20 Flight Rock by Eddie Cochran, Lucille, Ain't That a Shame, Midnight Special, Kansas City. A lot of that really early rock and roll, which I think is just phenomenal. So this is Paul covering those early rock and roll tunes. Why is it in Russian? I don't know. I haven't Googled that much, so I can't tell you the background of why it's in Russian on the front, but there you go. So, Richard.
I never figured out that whole Russian album. It was I know released in Russia, then eventually got released internationally, but it's still, it has a mystique of why to me too.
Right. I don't know.
But, what is that album? It's a Beatle covering a bunch of other people's songs. So I'm flipping that where I have a bunch of other people doing Beatles songs, and I have the Record Store Day issue of Stax Does Beatles.
Ooh.
That came out 2008. It's a craft recording. I haven't even looked to see if this is a colored vinyl, and I'll talk about who's on here too, because you're probably going, who the hell is on this? There is the track listing.
So is it Booker T and is it Isaac Hayes? Like, is it
is
Jack's guys? Otis?
Kind of along that line. So it's Otis Redding, David Porter, Booker T and the MGs. Got to Get You Into My Life, which is good. With a little help from my friends, Steve Cropper. Yesterday by Carla Thomas. Eleanor Rigby was Booker T. Let It Be was the Marquis. Didn't know them. Something, Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes, yeah.
Yesterday, the Barcades. The Barcades feature a lot on here, too. Michelle, Booker T, and I Love Her, Reggie Milner. With a little help from my friends again by the Barcades rather. Lady Madonna, Booker T.
Oh,
My Sweet Lord, John Gary Williams, and Hey Jude with the Barcades. So
I need to get
that. I'm getting it.
I need to get that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So there you go. Turn it that way so we can see what's going on a little bit. Oh, let's do it that way so I can see what I'm doing. There. Flat vinyl, Stax. It's kind of a shiny label, so it doesn't light up well. I'm going to say it's not hard to find. I don't recall it selling out, but then I also haven't seen it since. So it might be tricky. But yeah, Stax Does the Beatles. It's on Craft Recordings 2008. Well worth it. So good.
I did not know that exists, and I did not know this exists. Booker T and the MGs did an all Beatles LP, McLemore Avenue. I need to get that too. That would be great. I love
That
Book
would
of Kings.
probably have some of these versions on
I
that.
would imagine. Very cool.
Barkays are very, very good. Barkays were kind of the house band at Stax for a long time, and they were Otis's backing band, and they did a bunch of other stuff. I think they might have turned into the backup band for Chef. We just talked about him, but Isaac Hayes. So yeah, Barkays are really good. So that would be a fantastic album. I bet. I gotta look for that too. Let's see if we can find two copies. Two copies in one.
All right.
No, so yeah, so this kind of looks like the White Album with the drum set on the front. There you go.
Cool.
The drum set's cool. All right, so for this one here earlier, you had mentioned session drummer Jim Keltner. Now he's not on this one, but my understanding after reading about this album is that it was recorded over 2 days in 1987. I think it's, what do I see here? July 20th and July 21st of 1987. On one of those days, Paul used session drummer Chris Whitten, and then on the second day, he got another different session drummer by the name of Mr. Henry Spinetti. And if we want to talk, we've talked about Van Morrison and all these guys, but Henry Spinetti was also a session drummer who performed on this Eric Clapton live album, Just One Night. And so my connection is the session drummers on both of these albums. And we really got to do, we've got to do a session drummer episode one of these days. That'd be fun. There's like so many of them. I was hoping that I actually had the Chris Whitten, something with Chris Whitten, but I don't. But yeah, no, this is Clapton's live album from 1980. Eric Clapton, Spinetti, Albert Lee is on guitar. Yeah, so just nothing too specific there, but I just find it fascinating that entire thing, that the entire Russian album was recorded over 2 days, and like you guys said, like it was released in Russia and just a bunch of cover songs. Just seems it's kind of an unusual album when you think about it. And Eric Clapton's kind of an unusual dude. We've talked about him many times, but this is a pretty good live album. So yeah, straight and simple. My connection is session drummer. It's too bad I didn't have the second one, or I would have went with session drummers.
There you go. I had to go check to make sure I had Just One Night, and I do, so it's good. Okay, Joe.
I looked. It is not active, that Stax album, currently at Isotope, so we're going to have to find it used somewhere. So I went for this one a little weird, and I'm not sure. Well, I know why I have them, because I bought a collection, and that is why I have Russian copies of Black Sabbath, Master of Reality.
Whoa.
Along with some others. I've got some they're they're not bootlegs as much as they are the Russian cover. So that's upside down. Now it's going to be upside down that way. So let's try that again. There you go. So that is a Russian label, and that is Master of Reality by Sabbath. And then I've also got, as I drop them, please hold. There we go. I've also got the Russian copy of Led Zeppelin. You think? So that's that on the front. And then all of the songs are not done in Russian, but they are all spelt in Russian. And there's Led Zeppelin on the top there. I've also got this one, which is just more Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy, and Led Zeppelin 4 or Zoso or whatever the hell you want to call it. But it is a different picture. So this is a little more bootleggy than the other ones. And then I've also got Black Sabbath Paranoid, and again, the Russian version of Black Sabbath and Paranoid. Yeah, so there you go. This is
are those official releases, or are those ones that were?
I think the Master of Reality is actually an official Russian pressing. I think the other ones are bootlegs, but
because there's a lot of them that were not allowed in when it was still under the Soviet regime. So
right.
Yeah.
They were quasi-legal. Well, I guess illegal there, but
yeah. What would have been cool, and I don't have any, and I'm not sure if you guys have any, They used to, for a time frame in Russia, because of what you were just talking about, they would take old X-rays and they would somehow etch the albums onto the X-rays. Now, I think a lot of us in the VC and or know that already, but if not, there you go. You can seek those out. They're out there where they came across. Somehow they came across, but they took old X-rays because they didn't have pressing plants. Somehow they did have a pressing plant of some sort, but they didn't have the vinyl. So they pressed into old X-rays a bunch of albums. Probably there's a lot of X-ray Beatle albums out there. So there you go. The Russian versions of a couple of Sabbaths and a couple of Zeppelins. So,
all right. Well done. Okay, we got 2 left. I picked this guy just for the hell of it because I haven't talked about him a lot. But Neil Diamond. I could have gone Hot August Night, but I didn't want to look at that picture of him, holding his zucchini. So we went with Love at the Greek. Love at the Greek. I don't know when. He's had so many live albums. There's what, like 4? I think 4 Hot August Nights. I think
it's 4. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think so. Which was recorded, I believe, at the Greek Theater.
Yeah, I think they all are. Yeah, I think they all have been. Yeah.
So, and they're all fantastic. So, this is Neil, obviously, in the sequin shirt, late 70s. Fantastic. I saw Neil, and one of my favorite, it was awesome. He was like 70 years old and had the sequin shirt on, and he just fucking rocked. It was just amazing. So, very thankful to have seen Mr. Diamond there. So, where you go with that? That's probably an easy one.
This was the easy one, but there's some neat little factoids. Now, have you played that album lately, Rob?
Probably within the last 6 months, yeah.
Okay, so there's like some little guest singers that come on during Song Blue that were kind of fun, but I won't go there because someone else might, just in case. I went with the route that album was not only issued as a live album, but it was also a television special.
Yes.
And I vaguely recall seeing it on TV. I think it came on CBS or something. It was 1977-ish. Anyway, so I went that route. So what was another television special that became a live album? And that would be Elvis.
Yes.
Yeah, 1968 NBC, different channel, but same concept. I adore this album. This is one of those ones where if there's like box sets and stuff, I have them somewhere. I actually tried to pull one. I do have the DVD of the comeback special, which is actually pretty damn good and has some extras and stuff on it. It's pretty easy to find too. But great album, returned to form for getting Elvis back into the limelight after his cheesy movie career and sappy songs. And this was gritty, leather-clad Elvis and fantastic. So, similar vein for Neil Diamond being showy. Elvis got to be showy and became, the Las Vegas Hilton guy for years and years after that. So,
has there ever been a vinyl super deluxe reissue of that? I don't think there has. There's been some CD ones, but
there did CD ones. I have the King in the Ring one, which was a Record Store Day. That's a double album, and that has a lot of like second show outtakes,
right,
and whatnot. But yeah, as far as like a really in-depth 4 album box or something, I don't think there has. But the King in the Ring is as good as that too. So
yeah, awesome. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. We got a lot of Elvis talk tonight. This doesn't happen very often. It's great. We need more Elvis.
All right. I lied earlier when I said that I was done with Canadian content here. So I'm going to go straight up producer on this album.
Good.
And I'm going to go with Robbie Robertson.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what to say about this album because we've talked about this album a few times. And I mean, it's just a really good album. Even if you're not going with the big hits, like Somewhere Down That Crazy River and Showdown at Big Sky and stuff like that. It's well produced, and I oddly enough, I didn't realize this was on Geffen. which is kind of neat. Because, I mean, I guess back in the 80s, David Geffen was into everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd like to try to say more about this album and its connection, but the reality is, I mean, Robertson produced that double album live set. So, and we talked about this. So I'm not going to go into too much more about it, but it's a fantastic album. If you haven't checked out Robbie Robertson's solo,
I've not looked into this, but I should. And I don't know how the Neil Diamond and Robbie Robertson connection started. Neil Diamond appears on The Last Waltz.
mm-hmm.
And as much as I love that performance, it feels out of context with everyone else that is in The Last Waltz, right? It's kind of like that one doesn't make sense, even though the performance is outstanding. So, and then Robertson produces this, or maybe he produced this first. I'm not sure the chronology, but I don't know where that connection between Neil and the band and Robbie. I don't know. It seems like a weird fit, but they did stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'll have to Google it, I suppose.
For sure. The band never ever seemed like this, like you talked about, like the diamonds and like literally the glitzy glamour stuff. They don't fit that theme.
Right. Exactly.
So The Last Waltz was 78 and that was 77. So maybe it's the connection. Maybe. So I was going to try and find other albums recorded for a TV show that also got nominated for a Grammy, and I couldn't get there. I'm sure there is, because that one got nominated for, I think, 4 Variety or something like that. I also went the producer route because although he did not a bunch of producing, he did some, including this gentleman, Jesse Winchester. So Rick's on here and Garth's on here, I think, as well. So it's got some band flavor. Jesse Winchester, an American that was opposed to the Vietnam War, came up to Canada, made some Canadian friends, made some pretty good Canadian friends, in fact. But yeah, Jesse Winchester, guitar, vocals, piano. David Ria's on here. And then, yeah, like I said, Levon is on here, pardon me. Robbie plays guitar, but Robbie Robertson, also the producer on this album. He's got a number of albums. I listened to this today because I'm sure at some point I had him, not trying to put my finger up his nose. Good, really good. And I mean, you can tell exactly why he was in with that group. He wrote a bunch of songs for people as well. So, you know, if you just type in Jesse Winchester into the Discogs, you'll find his stuff. But then you'll also find a bunch of other songs that he wrote for other people as well. He wasn't quite Chris Christopherson writing songs and having his own career, but a little bit. So, and then died in 2012, I think. But yeah, not a guy I don't think a lot of people know, but made some influential friends along the way.
I've been looking for that, and I've still never seen it in the wild.
I think it came in a collection somewhere. That's the only one no, that's not true. I think I have a couple of his, but yeah. Good album.
Yep. Okay. Last one. All right. We mentioned this guy earlier tonight, and Daryl and I are big fans. Neil. I own it because I should own it. Right? I mean, so we've already mentioned Bryan Adams tonight. And we've already mentioned, some of our other lists. I've talked a lot about Blue Rodeo's 5 Days in July, and that is my generation's homage to this record. So I should love this record, and Neil has inspired many, 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 many of the Canadian artists that I rave about all the time, guys like Matt Mays and Adam Baldwin and countless others. So I should like this. I don't. It's fine. I just go, I guess I got to show the middle. It's a gatefold. So Heart of Gold, I guess, was the big one on here. Old Man, The Needle and the Damage Done. It's fine. I don't listen to it very often. And I know that's shameful and very un-Canadian of me, but it just doesn't appeal to me. So
Fair enough. You know what? I own one Neil Young album, and it's Decades. And the only reason I got it is because Amazon sent me the wrong album, and it was that. And they said, don't send it back, just keep it. So I have a Neil Young album I didn't even buy. I just acquired it.
even better.
Anyway, what's my connection? I just realized this is actually a double connection because, Neil Young, Canadian. This album is Canadian. Neil Young is on the Harvest Reprise label. So is this band. And it's 5440.
Oh yeah.
And I love this album. And what perplexes me about 5440, kind of what perplexes me about Blue Rodeo, is that their albums are so vastly different across their catalog as far as style-wise goes. Where this album immediately grabbed me, and I have another 5440 album that's like, I can't remember the title, I'm sorry, but it's just totally divergent from the style of music that this is. So I love this, but yeah, the other albums, I'm hesitant to get more from 5440 just because I don't know what I'm getting into.
Oh no, do it.
So,
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Smiling Buddha, Cabaret, Since When, they're all fantastic.
there's a white cover and it's people on it, and I can't.
Yeah, get it. Get
I
it.
have that one. No, that's
Okay, good.
that was the one I was like, it's so different from this one, and I'm like, I don't get it. So I'll play it
Yeah.
more.
Smiling Buddha Cabaret is amazing.
Yeah, they reissued that on vinyl a couple record
Have
store
they?
days ago. It's easy to find. I got to get it actually.
Yeah, I have it on CD. I got to get that on record. That's a
I
good
think
one.
the hit off that was Ocean Pearl. I think was the big song.
Yeah, but the rest of it's really good too. Like
Oh yeah.
This one.
Show Me, the one right after that album is good. Yeah, that one wasn't one of their biggest. I wouldn't
No.
judge them by that. But if you get Show Me, which is the one right after, as the guys have said, Dear is pretty decent too. Yeah, you're right. They do switch it up, but they stay pretty true to themselves at the same time. But it's all good. I 5440 always been a fan.
Okay, there's a couple of places here in Denver that will have their stuff used, kind of like they'll have Blue Rodeo stuff used,
Good.
and it's usually fairly cheap. So like that one was $3 or $4. Sure, I'll try that. But yeah, so I'll keep looking.
Since
Yeah,
Richard,
Show Me's got One Day in Your Life and One Gun, and One Gun is worth the price of admission alone, I think. Anyway, so good, all good stuff though, and great live. If for some reason they come around to Denver, go and see them. They still put on a pretty decent show. So
Okay, good to know. I wouldn't even know where they would play here because I don't know if they have much a following this far south into the States.
yeah,
So-
everybody there knows their song because Hootie did it, right?
Yep.
What the hell was that song?
I
I
Go
Go Blind.
Blind.
That's a
Blind.
5440 song. I Go Blind by Hootie and the Blowfish is a 5440 song. So yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Since Richard showed it, I got to show Richard my copy. I mean, I have an OG, but I also have this one.
Yeah.
And it says to Rob from 5440, and everybody signed it. Our good friend Tim, who joins us periodically, he went and saw them in concert and picked this up for me and got the band to
Oh,
sign it.
sweet. Very nice.
So this is actually the deluxe anniversary edition, and it's on this kind of it's kind of like it's hard to see, but it's like a Coke bottle clear
Oh, yeah.
kind of
Mhm.
whatever. But I love it because not only is it autographed, but it's autographed to me, which I thought was very awesome of Tim. So.
Does that have extra stuff on it, or is it just
Maybe live. Maybe.
I don't remember. Got a poster. I don't think there's anything extra in it. Hold on. Here's another side here. No, it's just a poster.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's remastered or whatever, but so sorry to jump back in out of turn, but it was in
It's all
context.
good. All right, so to close this one out, there's a ton on the Harvest album. There's a ton of backing vocalists, backing guitarists, just famous musicians. And I figured, why not close this out by buttering up Rob a little bit here?
Uh-oh.
Because I know for a fact that his favorite female musician of all time is Linda Ronstadt.
Yes,
And she is the backing vocalist for Old Man.
that's
So
true.
I'm connecting this with Linda Ronstadt, her greatest. I actually have multiple copies of her greatest hits. And I mean, it is a gatefold, but extremely boring.
Yeah.
And there she is giving everybody a high five. So, yeah, I will close this out by showing Rob's favorite female musician of all time, Linda Ronstadt, who does a fan. I mean, even if you're not into Old Man and all that, I mean, and actually, I didn't realize it, but James Taylor is also, I don't know if maybe he's going to show that, but James Taylor is also in the same song with Linda Ronstadt. So,
I have that same greatest hits, and then there's a volume 2 that's blue, and I see it new all the time, and I'm just trying to find a used copy of it. No luck yet. And I need volume 2 because that has Tumbling Dice on it, which is my favorite song ever.
Okay, just because I went to look to see what the other Jesse Winchester, we're going to backtrack here for a second. It's called Nothing But a Breeze is the other one I have by him. And then as I look, Emmylou Harris is on there, and Murray sings on there. Nicolette Larson sings on there as well. So like I said, he made some fans here and some friends here in Canada when he left the States. So there you go. But for this one, I went with, and yeah, again, lots and lots of ways you could have gone. I chose a bit of a dark one. This is going to be a dark ending to this because I went with the Needle and the Damaged Gun aspect of it, which he wrote kind of for his buddy, his bandmate, Danny Whitten, and others that have succumbed to they've died because of heroin overdoses, because that's kind of the gist of it. I mean, I'm sure it's a little of other things, but mostly it is heroin. So unfortunately, we lost a gentleman by the name of Lane Staley from Alice in Chains to that drug. And again, there's many. I just happen to choose a couple here, but this one's kind of cool. There's not an Alice in Chains that you see a whole bunch, right? You see the others much more than this one, but that kind of a clear album. But another gentleman that we lost to a heroin overdose, him and Nancy, and we talked about his buddy earlier, but we're going to go with Sid as well. I don't know. You can't call Sid a good musician. Sid was in the right place at the right time. And if there wasn't the Sex Pistols, we probably would have never, ever, ever heard of Sid Vicious. But because of the Sex Pistols, we did. And then because of a lot of things that happened afterwards, we heard some other things. But this is an interesting album. It's got his version of My Way. Yes, the My Way on there. It's kind of cool. He walks down the steps if you've seen the video. But it's different. My Way. What else is on here? Stepping Stones on here. Search and Destroy. Chinese Rocks. I Killed the Cat. So plus a free poster inside, which is no longer on in there. But I don't know if I want a poster of Sid Vicious up on my wall anyway. So it doesn't necessarily matter. But The Needle and the Damage Done from that great Neil Young album. I really like Harvest. There's a lot of great stuff on there. A lot of great performers that we just proved. And unfortunately, a lot that we have lost to heroin along with many, many other things. Again, there was a whole bunch I could have chose, but these are the two that I chose. So on that happy note,
we're finished.
Of heroin overdoses. Yeah.
We're
Nice,
finished.
Joe.
That was fun, gentlemen. Job well done, guys. Some connections I wouldn't have thought in a million years, but that was. I love these connections episodes. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, always good.
So we'll do what we always do. We'll go around the horn, and you can plug your channel and talk about whatever you want to talk about. Richard, what's going on at the Tap House these days?
I'm still kind of getting into this new series I've started of digging back into some of these cubes of albums that I have not played in years, if not decades, if not multiple of decades. So I've done an A video, a B video. I'm ready to start putting together the C one. I listened to 5 albums from the C cube, and I'll put that together pretty soon. So that's coming up soon.
Good. Daryl, what's going on in your world?
My world, I haven't put out a video in almost 2 weeks. I'm kind of like you, Rob, where first of all, I did a lot of tags.
Right.
So I'm tagged out. But I want to try to get back to some normalcy. So I'm thinking of doing 2 soundtrack videos. One of soundtracks that I have that I've never seen the movies to.
That
And
one. That one right there.
And one of soundtracks that I have seen the movies to. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of. And also, I just started my 3rd year in the VC, so I might do one of those, hey, try to get me up to 350 sub videos or whatever it's going to be. But it will not be a spell 350. It'll be something
Thank
better
God.
than that.
Good. Joe, interview on there with the drummer.
Yeah. So you guys have stopped doing videos. I've started to actually do a couple in the last little while. It's weird. The world's all gone topsy-turvy. Yeah, I talked about it. I talked about it off the hop, but for those that might still be watching at this point or joined us part way through, got an interview with the young gentleman by the name of Dawson Dressler, drummer for the band Black Tea out of Regina, Saskatchewan. So I've got that. I've got a VCLT one that I got from Mr. Man, which Daryl and I have talked about. We got that Stereophonics album, plus there's some other stuff. And then I've got the Canadian Stereotypes video up there as well. So you've got a little bit of options if you want to go to my channel. And then next Wednesday, after we're done, not this evening, but next Wednesday, because we're doing it every couple of weeks, the game show. I think a few people watched last week. I did talk to Scott. He is going to join us next week unless something happens. But I do have a bunch of other people that I would love to have on. Again, I know it's a little bit later. I know you two are fine because you're night owls, but I want to try and get a few other contestants on. Rob will be our reigning champion. He'll start us off next week. I've got 15 different episodes questions planned already. Yeah, I got it in my head, and when I do that, I'm a little obsessive. It's like when I started smoking again a while ago. When I had stopped, I just started again, and away we went. So when I get something in that's a bad.
Quit smoking, Joe. It's not good for you.
No. When I did it before, no, I haven't for 4 years. Actually, it's been 4 years now. So no, I'm clean and I'm clean and sober. Anyway, I get something in my head, and I gotta just get it all out there. So like I said, I've got 15 episodes built. We're going to do it every couple of weeks. You guys are going to be on. Richard's going to come on hopefully sometime. But next Wednesday, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. Jeopardy. We're going to call it Jeopardy.
I love it.
Joanne has come up with
brilliant.
that fantastic name. So it's going to be
it.
Rock and
That's
Roll
Joe
Jeopardy.
for thinking of that.
Yeah. Rock and Roll Jeopardy. That's next Wednesday night. So come back and join us. And you can go and watch last week's episode as well. It was a pretty close game. It ran away a little bit at the end, but it was good.
I went all in. There's no pain, no gain.
Yeah.
Still waiting for my check in the mail, Joe, with all my winnings.
Well, it'll come at the end of the season.
The end of my season.
So we'll plus minus a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
come up with something. I'll tell you what. I will find you Linda Ronstadt's Greatest Hits Volume 2 because I think I have one of those somewhere. So I'll find you that. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, as for me, I haven't made a video in weeks because life's been busy. And, I've said it before, I'm in kind of a rut and have been for the better part of 4 or 5 months. I love doing this, but, I've got 400 videos on my channel and I only have 900 records, right? So what more could I possibly have to say? So I'm going to do Daryl's Canadian Stereotype thing. I've got everything ready to roll. I'll probably shoot that tomorrow night, probably. I still have to do Sam's Americana tag as I promised I would. And then I might be tagged out, I think. Who knows what I'll do after that. But a few other things kind of cooking, a few other things just kind of trying to work out some scheduling on a few other things. So that's where we sit. So maybe this Sunday I might have the Canadian Stereotype video.
Lovely.
That is that. Brian saying, fun show. Thanks, man. Love that you tune in to listen to us goofballs yak for a while. That's awesome. Thanks, Record Hound. We love that you tune in every week. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
And
he's off
everyone
to have
else.
supper at 10 o'clock at night.
To everyone else
There we go, right on.
that tuned in tonight, thank you. We enjoy chatting with you all every week. And for those that are going to watch later, thanks for spending a couple hours with us. Richard, as our special guest, always fun to have you on, my friend. Thank you very much. Joe and Daryl and I will be back next week with a different topic and a different guest. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week, everybody. Have a great night.